Hey everyone, welcome back to the Essentials channel. Today's video will be on the range of 1.5 to 2 mil. What can you actually choose? So welcome to this series of Blessing in Disguise Part 3, 1.5 to 2 million dollars. Like I always said, just because the project didn't sell out doesn't mean it's always a bad product. Alright, but of course now as we go to this spectrum of price range, you will realize that maybe your options are really very limited, and actually there is a price void in the market. 1.5 to 2 mil is still a sizable quantum for many, right? It is still money, right? It's still quite a lot. But in fact, if you want to go for 3 bedrooms, you basically have no other option apart from one, which I'll show you later. But after that, you will have many more other options for the 2 bedroom. But to pay that kind of price for 2 bedrooms, that's the part where everybody is scratching their heads. Alright, but of course, as the market continues to progress, just like every other market itself, the question always remains. If I buy a 2 bedroom at a certain pricing today, how is it going to hit that much higher pricing? Wow, Affinity used to cost 1,400 per square foot, means need to sell at 1,800 per square foot. Did it really happen? It did. So whether is it on a project itself or whether is it on a bedroom type itself, everything moves in tandem upwards. Alright, but of course, can we actually consider some resale options then? So today we will have a little bit of a bonus segment for that one. So coming back, remember to like, share and subscribe to the Essentials channel. Some of you have reached out to me and I'm here to really grow this community. I'm always active on the comments, and most importantly, I'm always up for a one-to-one consultation because I believe I have the answers to all of your scenarios. Some of you have reached out to me and now we have developed into working relationship. I'm trying to help you sell your place to upgrade to the next one. I'm basically the best consultant you can get out there. So remember to contact me at 94569398 for your one-to-one consultation. Else, remember to like, share and subscribe to continue supporting the YouTube's algorithm in pushing this channel so that I stay motivated in creating awesome content like this. I think by now you have seen that my eye has recovered. Let's see whether I have the eye for detail today to help you pick out the best developments between 1.5 to 2 million today. So here again, we have the app that actually starts off. We key in the key attributes that we'll be able to see a bird's eye view of the entire Singapore's developments. So we start off with subtype condo as well as the sale type, which is available for sale. This time round, we start with a 3 bedroom first. Right, and looking at 3 bedroom, we keep our number of units to more than 250 units, or maybe if we put it at 200 so that we can see maybe options like Arcady will come out, and then anything that is above 1.4 mil to 2 million dollars. We apply the filter. There is actually only one development which has been covered in all our previous videos, because if you are somebody that is able to just look at the numbers and you stick to the key objective of getting the largest asset class that your budget can give, that's our number one goal, which is to build capital and to most importantly meet the needs of Singaporean. Right? Is 2 bedroom a bigger need or 3 bedroom a bigger need? I think we all know the answer. Families will naturally find the 3 bedroom a bigger need. And if you go in the cheapest, largest in the entire Singapore, am I right to say you set the benchmark for the resale prices? Meaning to say they need the 3 bedroom, the market sets the resale at this price, they have no choice, they can afford it, they pay for it. So in a way, that's another school of thought. But our number one goal, within a limited budget, how can we help you increase the asset class to the largest possible? So like what I say, within the same budget, you can only get a 2 bedroom with a lot of options. But when it comes to 3 bedrooms, suddenly within the same budget, you're only down to the first option, which is Canberra Crescent Residences. And like what I mentioned in my other video, you still got 25 units to choose from. 3 bedrooms start from 797 square feet. In fact, if you think that the 3 bedroom 797 square feet is a little bit too small, we can even go for the 990 square feet where you still can find units at 1.996 mil, below 2 million. Alright, so if you are looking for something, and I'm sure by now you have seen all the 2 bedrooms in general cost about 1.8 to 2 million. Let's say Penrith, you can get a 2 bedroom remaining unit at 1.85 million. Here, we actually have a slide, alright, that actually depicts this concept. In the past, with the same budget, should you go for an RCR property but only 2 bedroom, a smaller asset class, or should you go for a 3 bedroom, a bigger asset class but further away? So illustrating the similar scenario, we can see from here, Riverfront Residences was 915 square feet, unit number 0770. They were bought in 1.193 mil on 5th July 2018. Similarly, with the same budget, you could have bought Trevor at 700 square feet, unit 1217, a high floor unit at 1.113 on 18 August 2018, just 1 month apart. Similarly, you share the same dilemma. Should I go for something that's close to city but a smaller asset class? Or should I move further out into a more ulu location but yet get a 3 bedroom or a bigger asset class? They are the same, but look at what happened. Riverfront Residences in the end was bought on 5th July 2018, sold at 1.65 mil at 7 February 2024 with 457k of profits, down payment of 330k. The Trevor 700 square feet unit 1217 bought on 1.113 on 18 August 2018, sold at 1.4 mil on 29 Jan 2024. 1 month apart from each other for sales and purchase. In the end, only making a profit of 287k with a down payment of about 23k lesser. Entered and sold both 1 month apart of each other, but 22k of down payment difference resulted in a 170k profit difference. The 3-bedroom has a higher homestay demand and lower overall supply, equals to better exit strategy. So just by showing you this example, can we liken it to the example that I just mentioned to you? Currently, 2 bedrooms at Penrith is probably about 1.85. It is an RCR property with the same down payment or slight top up, like maybe an extra 30 to 40k. Should you actually go for a 3-bedroom in a much further location, but you need to get over your barrier inside your mind, which is the Ulu location. But ultimately, who needs it more? Do families need the 2-bedroom more or actually the 3 bedrooms more? I think with that in mind, we can actually know the answer, plus this concept that I've just shown you. And that's why if you are within the range of 1.5 to 2 million, my first choice actually today is if you can increase the asset class as big as possible, cheapest, largest in the entire Singapore. My recommendation for you is to go for Canberra Crescent Residences, the 3 bedrooms. Try to go for the 990 square feet one. Else, if you cannot afford it, go for the 872 square feet ones. But 872 or 883 square feet are very limited options. They are only the ground floor units, which may not be my recommendation. Otherwise, you can actually go for the 797 square feet ones, which is a quantum of 1.618 mil. People pay 1.618 to get a 2-bedroom. You actually manage to still squeeze in a 3-bedroom compact. And if you look at the layout as what I've shown you down here, entering from the main entrance, you actually get a semi-enclosable kitchen, a U-shaped kitchen, followed by a designated dining and living with 2 bedrooms on the left and 1 bedroom on the right, indicating that this is a dumbbell layout. This is very livable, and given the amenities and the landscaping, I think just to squeeze for a 3-bedroom while others pay the same amount for a 2-bedroom, always remember, put the emotions aside about location. Just look at the numbers. This is GFA harmonized, and that's why they are able to create such beautiful layouts even for the 3-bedroom that meets the livability needs. With that in mind, this does open up 2 options for you. Either go for the 797 square feet, 3 bedrooms, keep the quantum even lower so that your exit will be even easier in future, or meet the mass market needs. Go for a 3-bedroom 990 square feet that actually meets the family needs. You will have a clear exit strategy, especially you can get a 3-bedroom premium at only below $2 million. This actually comes with a flexible study that can actually double up as a utility room, meeting the needs of mass market. Basically, 990 square feet is a 3-bedroom premium. Alright, so of course, if you want more info about Canberra Crescent Residences, you can refer to part 1, part 2 of Blessing in Disguise. Else, you can also refer to the YouTube full review of Canberra Crescent Residences, where I really touch on the comparison to the surrounding ECs or the surrounding competition and liken it to how Treasures at Tampines is also like. So if we look at the 2-bedroom options, this is about 17 projects to choose from. Alright, so let's sort it from low to high. Right, first of all, you have Cassia. Because for this one, I feel that actually it's a good development, but I think given the area's oversupply, because don't forget, Cassia is actually at Loyang, that area, which is the Flora Drive area. So A to K, they are all developments. You got like Azealia, you got like Ferraria Condo, and then you got like Elder Y. So the first letter represents the land parcel. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So of course, K is the last land parcel down there. You have about 11 land parcels there that has a development on it. And of course, K being the last one, which is Cassia. Alright, Cassia is not GFA harmonized. So with that in mind, basically, you don't really have an edge against everybody else there. And if you go for a 2-bedroom, being in such a far location, I think the need for a 2-bedroom isn't that high there. Even if you want to rent out, your ute may not be so ideal as well. But if you look at the pricing itself, it's 1.557 mil. The lowest PSF that's available is already at 2067 PSF. Could we actually do better? Next, we have the Mist. The Mist is the one that's beside Cashew MRT. I think this is actually a better option as compared to Cassia. Reason being because it is part of the downtown line, which the government exchanged the rail corridor for 2 lanes. So in a way, it is experiencing its transformation in the area. You have the downtown line running in parallel to the rail corridor. And with that in mind, that's where the government is focusing the infrastructure phase on. So I would think that, of course, if you own something like a 2-bedroom right beside MRT, the expats actually can accept something like that, because most of the time you buy 2 bedrooms is to cater for rental ute and of course small family audiences. Having an MRT can allow people to probably uproot from somewhere that they are familiar with to go into a place where maybe they are not so familiar with, but thank goodness, because of the MRT transportation, it does help them adapt. Alright, so if we look at the 2 bedrooms layout, this is how the 2-bedroom layout actually looks like. 678 square feet. They are in the midst of the changing policy. It's just nice. These are the last few projects that have not experienced the GFA harmonization, but they run a similar unit type and layout type. And you can see how efficient the layout is. they're still able to give you L-shaped kitchen and closable. You can actually install a sliding door with the dumbbell layout with the 2 bedrooms on the left and right and the toilets running in parallel against each other. So you get your master suite and junior suite, very livable. In fact, I think this one itself for a 2-bedder at 1.589 mil is quite reasonable. You get it on the high floor. The prices haven't really staged up that much. I think from launch until now for the 2 bedrooms, apart from height premium, they only increase about like 2 to 4%, which is not a lot. And then of course you got the higher floors, which is the 24th floor. These are the ones that come with the high ceiling, and that's why you see the size going up a little bit more from 678 square feet to 840 square feet, and that is the one that actually factors in the airspace. Not the best recommendation, but if you're going for own stay and you're looking for something right beside the MRT in a developing area with transformation, then maybe the Mist is something that you can really consider. And why I say it's own stay, because with such a high double volume ceiling, you probably do a loft to it. I always tell people this: if you have high ceiling and you do loft, it will make it easier for your resaleability, because people can actually see the materialized product of what a loft unit would look like, and some of them who buy for their own stay would actually love this setup a lot. So move forward, we are still in our 2-bedroom range. We have Lake Garden Residences, OCR. The starting price is 1.59 mil. This is how the layout would actually look like. This is a traditional layout where you get an open galley kitchen and then followed by the living and dining with the 2 bedrooms on the left and right, and then you get a powder toilet and a master bath. To me, in all honesty, this is not that good of a layout because there is not even a concrete toilet designated for your common bath. And of course, the issue about the dining area being so squeezed with the living area, this one itself may not constitute such a good efficient layout. I think by just looking at Mist with the same square feet, we can actually see the Mist being a lot more efficient. Alright, so 678 square feet, 1.59 mil. You realize that actually everybody is priced 1.59 mil. If you're going to choose something in Lake Garden Residences, choose the highest floor possible because they're running a one price promo. So the highest floor moves, the highest floor gets the same price. The most advantage is always the highest floor. Alright, so next, of course, then we have Sora, which is right beside the Lake Garden. You see, you have a lot of choices down here for the 2 bedrooms. Here is a quick glimpse of the layout. This is the 2-bedroom deluxe. They give you the kitchen aisle running in parallel against each other, and then a dumbbell layout. There is a study area which is in the master bedroom, and it leads out to the balcony as well. So I think this is kind of quite a special layout, I must say, and it actually makes sure that you have a very huge master bedroom. Depending on the facing, which kind of faces the park, some of them, then you can really capitalize on the nice views of the Lake Garden Park there. Have a very livable unit. So I think this will cater to smaller families, and their starting price in general now is about 1.665 mil. So now, after evaluating the first 4 lowest pricing, I don't think they are really that good options, I must say. So there is this one that has just caught my eye. My number 1 choice for a 2-bedroom 1.5 to 2 mil is actually Bloomsbury Residences. Because can you see the price difference between Sora versus Bloomsbury? It's only a 1k difference. One being OCR in Lake Garden Jurong, another one being RCR in the One North region that is going to be developed. Both are running the same phases of transformation, which they are both in the announcement phase, heading towards the completion phase. Probably the Lake Garden side is closer to completion phase than Bloomsbury side, because Bloomsbury side falls under the Dover Medway transformation, which is going to be the upcoming transformation that the government is focusing on within the next 5 to 10 years. So if you want something in the earlier phase, you can go for Sora or Lake Garden. But then again, if you want something in a slightly better location for a similar price, or in fact, a much better location in a similar price, then I would say closer to city for the same price, $1,000 apart, actually kind of makes sense. Because if you look at Sora and Bloomsbury right now, the lowest price is a 1.665 mil versus a 1.666 mil, meaning to say they are only $1,000 apart. And if we look at the Bloomsbury Residences layout, it's still the same kind of layout, which is 678 square feet. Just as Sora, you get a 678 square feet non-harmonized, while this Bloomsbury is a 678 square feet harmonized development. And if we look at the layout, this is actually quite an ideal layout, I must say. You still get an L-shaped kitchen, a wide living room, 2 bedrooms, each can fit queen bed, and if you realize you can actually fit side tables with the queen bed, that's how sizable this is. Facing wise, I mean, it's as a corner unit, you get windows in your toilet as well. I think that is something that is quite unique for a 2-bedroom, and they face the Media Circle Road. It's a corner unit, so the views wise are pretty okay. Currently, it's still a green field down there. I must say this is one of the better view 2-bedrooms that you can choose in the market today. And then next, you have, of course, a few more options in mind at 1.716 all the way until 1.8. But I think this 1.666 mil one is actually the number 1 choice that you should be looking out for. Alright, maybe once this video rolls out, somebody identifies this as the key opportunity, will then of course move for it. And then next, we have Hillock Green. Right, Hillock Green, what is left is mostly the higher floor units with the high ceiling. Alright, and with the high ceiling, because the airspace is considered as part of the unit, you are basically paying extra for a 2-bedroom unit, which kind of skews towards a little bit more investment. And if you skew towards that spectrum of things, then you will realize that you're paying for airspace may not be the most worth it of them all, and it hasn't caught up with the new URA policies where they are not allowed to charge for airspace. Alright, next of course we have Hill Haven River Green. So River Green itself, if you're able to stretch the budget a little bit, you're gonna get something on the 32nd to the 34th story, but because of the size drop, this is the type of 2-bedroom layout that you'll be getting. It'll be a 2-bed 1-bath unit, kind of like dropping the size just to be in the best location. I would pick River Green as my choice if it's only a pure investment with no family stay, then I get to be at least in the city area to get the best yields. The rest is of course Lentoria, Collective at 1 Sophia, Penrith, 1 Marina Gardens, Terra Hill, Chuan Park, Nava Grove, and these are all the prices. Right, so you will see that I wouldn't probably recommend Nava Grove because it's already at 1.951 mil for a 2-bedroom. Alright, and then of course we have Promenade Peak. With the same amount of money, we could have gone for a city area property at Promenade Peak. Grand Diamond itself is a little bit on the more expensive side. You get a 2-bed 1-bath, 893 square feet. I think likelihood is because it being considered as part of the high ceiling. Again, you are paying for the high ceiling airspace, which again, it's not worth it. That's why you see it being the most expensive. So what is my second choice then? I sprout so much nonsense. Moving forward, based on this list, I need to choose a little bit of the best out of the worst. I think we will know my answer. My number one is really Bloomsbury Residences. But hey, I actually identified a new opportunity down here. Anyway, you are going for a 2-bedroom, so most of the time you are catering to investors as well as small families. And then what do these people want? They are families that are looking out to start their building capital or to meet their family needs. And if you think about it in that direction, to meet the family needs, they are already getting a smaller unit. Might as well get a slightly more convenient one. My second choice, actually surprisingly this time around, is 1 Marina Gardens. Because if you look at 1 Marina Gardens versus Penrith, you will realize that Penrith actually the lowest pricing possible is 1.81 mil, being at the 37th floor. Alright, but what they are getting is only a 614 square feet, 3710, and this is a 2-bed 1-bath, a traditional layout with a long walkway corridor at the front and with a corridor that breaks into the bedrooms. How much space wasted in a 614 square feet 2-bed 1-bath? Can we actually have a more efficient space? Alright, but most importantly, since it's already in Queenstown area and I'm paying for this price, I might as well be in the heart of city, right? Which is what? 1 Marina Gardens. Right, 1 Marina Gardens, not only do you not get a 2-bed 1-bath, you can instead get a 2-bed 2-bath at 646 square feet or even 657 square feet, but maybe on the low floors. What you get at a high floor 2-bed 1-bath in Penrith can get you a 2-bed 2-bath in 1 Marina Gardens right above the MRT. In Penrith, you still need to walk about 5 to 10 minutes, right? But in 1 Marina Gardens, you are integrated with the MRT station and you can come down. Whose yield will be higher then? I think we all know that the rental yield in 1 Marina Gardens will probably be better given the proximity to the MRT, and most importantly, it is in the CBD area where expats come in, their first touch is there and they work there. So probably they will be looking for something in 1 Marina Gardens instead. So we settle the yield side. Now, if you're a family today, which one would you choose? A 2-bed 1-bath or 2-bed 2-bath at a similar pricing? I think we have our answer as well. But not only that, a family that can actually accept staying in a 2-bedroom 2-bath, right, for example, would then mean that they would want a slightly better location. Where else would be better than to stay in 1 Marina Gardens itself, the heart of CBD? Right, so of course, if you look at the master plan itself, like my previous video has mentioned, if you look at it as and classify it as District 1, then maybe you may not see that much potential. Right, but if you look at it and reclassify, look at what the government is really looking at. In my previous video, you have seen that actually it becomes an extension of the Tanjong Rhu area, because how can they set up an MRT there just to serve 4 to 5 existing projects? If you look at it, they have actually taken back the Marina Golf Course, and that itself is very well seamlessly connected to where 1 Marina Gardens is, the new township. So can this be an extension of the Tanjong Rhu area where the government is planning to expand the township? If we go on to the master plan like what I showed you in the previous video, you will be able to see why. Now, if you have a 2-bedroom alternative down here, 2-bed 2-bath, 1 more bathroom, similar size instead of just high floor, low floor, but yet you get it in the heart of city. As a family, are you able to sacrifice and accept it? At least you know you are getting a slightly better value proposition and attributes to be in 1 Marina Garden. So actually my second choice is 1 Marina Gardens, 2-bedroom 2-bath, 646 square feet. And if we look at the layout, you get a very nice layout, dumbbell layout. Walking in from the main entrance, at least you save on the wasted corridor space as compared to Penrith. You get, in place, you get your galley kitchen, a designated dining area, followed by living, and then you break out into 2 bedrooms and 2 baths. Hey, this is actually one of the best layouts that you can get within your budget range range of 1.83 to 84 mil. And that's why my number 2 choice will be One Marina Gardens. Basically, you get something in a better location, larger unit for the same size at the same price. So the reason why I rank Bloomsbury as number 1 is because you still get your Bloomsbury a 2-bedroom at 1.66 mil, cheaper than similar RCR units in Penrith with a 200k price gap, and still cheaper than One Marina Gardens in terms of quantum. The rest of the other options are further places like Loyang, Cashew, Lake Gardens, Jurong, Sora, right, Lake Gardens area, and they cost the same price as Bloomsbury. They're 1.6 and you RCR 1.6. Am I right to say Bloomsbury then becomes a very ideal opportunity? That's why I rank Bloomsbury as number 1. Number 2 is One Marina Gardens. Alright, so now comes to my third pick. Not my best pick, but I gotta choose something from the best of the worst. Alright, and it's actually not that bad, but we have to accept that you are paying a slightly higher quantum because it's not in the GFA harmonization policy. So naturally, my third pick is Chuan Park. Alright, if we sort by the PSF, you will realize that Chuan Park is at this PSF of 2,640 PSF. It's just slightly higher than Lentoria, and the problem with Lentoria is what? Lentoria itself, the remaining units, if I click in down here, are 0120 and all the 17th floor for a 2-bedroom. Basically, what does this mean? This one, again, they factor in the high floor, the airspace, the high volume ceiling, alright, into the pricing itself already. So the representation of the PSF here is not a good representation. You get it at 2526 PSF, but you're paying for the airspace basically. Alright, for here, and that's why you will see why I rank Chuan Park as my third, because the rest of the other options such as Hillock Green, such as Lentoria, such as Sora and Lake Garden, Chuan Park actually wins in terms of either the location or in terms of the unit layout where they don't charge for the airspace. I mean, there are units in Chuan Park that charges for the airspace, but there are still available 12 available units that are like the 2nd floor, 3rd floor, 4th floor that do not take the airspace into consideration. Of course, if I were to push the budget a bit higher, naturally there will be more units available. But at the current moment, Chuan Park, you have Unit 2027, 700 square feet with an ideal traditional layout. Coming in from the entrance, you get an L-shaped kitchen, a living dining, and then the 2 bedrooms with the 2 bathrooms running in parallel against it. Facing wise, it's not too bad. It either faces the pool, actually all the 2 bedrooms faces the pool. But most importantly, you are in a very accessible location which allows you to access 2 highways along the way, as well as an MRT station right below your development. Alright, so again, this one itself would then meet the convenience needs. It is in a much better location as compared to the Lake Garden Residences and Sora. And of course, it beats the convenience because why, you are basically right beside the MRT. In a way, this is classified as OCR property, but when we look at it on the map, it's as good as an RCR property as well. And if we look at that in that sense, you're probably the cheapest RCR 2-bedroom that you can find in the entire Singapore at this moment, because you have Nava Grove, which is at 1.951 mil. You have Tyra Hill, which is at 1.913 mil, but you get the freehold, but don't forget you actually face the perimeters wall because of the sunken-in land. You have Promenade Peak, which is at 1.958 mil. So this is another contender that you can actually go for. So my third choice can actually be either Chuan Park or Promenade Peak. Reason being because this is the highest quantum of them all at the 1.9 mil range, hitting the 2 mil range. So it's either you get somewhere right in the city center, which is the Promenade Peak 2-bedroom unit. This itself is the layout. I think the Chuan Park layout may actually be better. So actually, after looking at things a little bit clearer, it's either you pick Chuan as your third choice or you pick Promenade Peak as your third choice, because now we are just comparing the range of quantum of 1.9 mil. We got to pick the best out of the current scenario that you can give. And with that in mind, Chuan Park is 1.949 mil, Promenade Peak is 1.958 mil. Just with a mere top up of $9,000, you will be able to get something right beside Great World. So probably Promenade Peak might actually pose as a more advantageous opportunity as compared to Chuan Park. But once these units get sold, then probably my third choice will be a very clear Chuan Park. So now, as promised, the bonus segment, which is which resale would you actually go for then? Alright, I think why I suddenly decide to do this is also because I realized that with the $1.5 to $2 million range, most of your options are actually 2-bedroom with only one option that is a 3-bedroom, which is Canberra Crescent Residences. Like I said, our main goal is to try to get as big as possible an asset with your limited budget so that we have a clear exit strategy in future so that you can maximize your quantum leap and your building capital journey. So I understand that while 2 bedrooms may not meet the general mass market needs or Singaporeans' needs for families, you will have some doubts regarding your exit strategy. Maybe I will then of course pivot the strategy to going for resale instead. And one good place that I would go for to look for good resale deals is probably the EC resales. Alright, so you may be shocked that, hey, wow, Matt always talk about new launch but suddenly is pivoting towards the EC resales. I would would say that actually, yes, because of a limited budget, then I need to open a little bit more options for you that will maximize your future exit strategy. So my second main priority is what? To make sure that there is large enough number of people that needs this kind of unit, and basically we are talking about families then my suggestion is to probably go for something like the Sengkang area, such as ECs, the MOP like the Vales, because just by opening Property Guru, you can see how much a 3-bedroom actually costs. 1.638 mil, quite fairly renovated at 1585 PSF, 3-bedroom 1033 square feet. Hey, these are what families need. And of course, if we are able to get something that is very livable, don't forget, livable equals to needs are met. When needs are met, you will always have an exit strategy. My job is to also get you the largest asset class. Then why not we go for something at 1033 square feet, 1.6 to 1.65 mil, get 3 bedrooms. A lot of the new developments today, in order to get 3 bedrooms minimally, you need about 2 to 2.2 million. With this price gap in mind of 500 to 700k, isn't this a good enough safety net for you to exit in future? At least this one more or less maximizes your chances of a good capital appreciation, because number one, you have the size. Number two, the livability meets the family needs. And with that in mind, yes, you kind of set the benchmark for the lowest 3 bedrooms available in the market. People have no choice but to pay for it. And that is why my recommendation is, if you really want something to maximize, maybe your alternative option is going for a 3-bedroom MOP EC that actually keeps the quantum low but meets the general mass market needs to pump up and boost the demand. Alright, so this is one. I can show you the list down here. You can see a range of 3 bedrooms, the 904 square feet at 1.4 mil, a slightly more renovated with a better facing one is about 1.88 mil, and then of course you get another 904 at 1.33, and this is at 1.75 mil. So anything below the 1.7 mil, I would feel that it's actually very good for 3 bedrooms. Next, we have another one, which is Treasure Crest. Treasure Crest itself is a newer EC MOP as compared to the Vales. You can see from here, it's also 1076, 1.68 mil. You get a fairly good view from here. Again, most of these EC units are always mostly renovated because these people really treat their own units like their home, and whenever they take their keys, they feel very excited. They would want to decorate it up and of course enhance the whole livability experience within their own units. And that's why you can see from here, this is a renovated unit at 1.71 mil or 1.75 mil at 1519 PSF, 1152 square feet. I mean, it's so ideal, so livable. Alright, this is another one at 1076 square feet, 1.688 mil. So whatever that you pay for a 2-bedroom, right now, you are finally getting a 3-bedroom that meets the mass market needs. Alright, so this is one bonus segment that you can actually look out for. It need not be a Sengkang EC per se. You can actually look at other places following our 3-phase transformation, which other location is within the infrastructure phase, and that is the place where probably influx of population will happen after, and that will actually drive up your demand and pushing your resale prices. So probably Woodlands ECs are something that you should be looking for, because that's where the government is focusing on. The Woodlands North and Woodlands South MRT station was just established about 2 to 3 years ago. This is where the government is focusing on the infrastructure phase, and you know that with all the transformations that's happening in the area, new influx of population will come in, and thus the livability is enhanced because of the transformation, and thus your demand actually goes up in the area, pushing up the prices as well. So quoting and citing a similar experience will probably be the downtown line in the Upper Bukit Timah area. You will realize that before the announcement of Reserve Residences and the 3-fold tender, which is sitting on the Reserve Residences side, the resales were only about 1,300 to 1,400 per square foot. But with it being in the infrastructure phase where government is focusing on for the infrastructure developments and everything, suddenly the resales become 1,800 to 1,900 PSF. Alright, and it's also packed against the new launches that are launching in the area. But why is this happening? It's also because of the influx of population into this area that pushes and drives the demand up. So if you want something with fast, higher but yet shorter timing of returns, then probably for resale, you should be looking for something that is going through the infrastructure phase. Alright, so now we have come to the end of this blessing in disguise part 3. Alright, there will not be a part 4 because basically anything below 1.5 million, you're probably only going to get a 1-bedroom. 1-bedroom, I may not strongly encourage unless you are looking for a passive income. You're looking for something that just buy to rent and pay off all the way. There will be future prospects for 1-bedroom, but you got to wait another 5 to 10 years for the current resale supply to clear off. This resale supply is actually from the times of oversupply in the past, where there isn't any URA policies to govern the supply of 1-bedrooms, such as the policy of 20% must be dwelling units, such as the policy of average sizing from 70 to 85 square meter. And that's why in the past you see a lot of the one bedroom. With the implementation of these new URA policies, basically the government is controlling the supply of one bedrooms as well. That's why you see recent new launches have very little one bedrooms. But we still need to give it time for the existing resale supply, the general one bedroom supply in the market to actually start to come down before we start to see better returns in one bedroom. Alright, so with anything below 1.5 mil, my suggestion is probably to go for a resale. Meet your family needs first, or at least think in the direction of the family needs. Get as big an asset class as possible so that you can actually cater to mass market needs, and that will maximize your chances of exit strategy. It's also about getting one foot in first so that you build capital. You may not get the highest returns at this current moment being in such a budget range, but at least every 100k to 200k or even 300k of appreciation will give you additional capital to form the down payment of your next bigger purchase. So do not be tunnel vision about getting your ideal home. Get into it first. Use the market to your advantage. Build capital. Every 100k counts because it contributes to the future capital to one step closer to your dream home. So with that in mind, we come to the end of this segment, alright, about blessing in disguise. I hope I have helped you identify all the unique opportunities and gave you some blessing in a way, alright, so that you can learn how to navigate in today's market and pick the right choices. Alright, so with that in mind, remember to like, share and subscribe. I will continue to create more unique content. Keep me motivated. Remember to contact me at 94569398 for your one-to-one consultation. I'm sure, given my experience, I have the answer to all of your scenarios. Don't worry, I will be candid about it and straightforward. Can do means can do, cannot do means cannot do. Right? From there, we will navigate, most importantly, how to get you the biggest asset class possible, or if not, is how can I contribute to eventually achieving your dream home. Remember to like, share and subscribe to keep the channel going. I'll see you in the next one.